Hello everyone, it's Sharon Creations by Carrie. It's Carrie. Hope you're doing well. I wanted to show you the things that I played with this week. Trying to create new things for me. May not be new for you, but watched some videos, got some ideas, wanted to expand a little bit. So I began to play. So the first thing is that I was trying to make envelopes. And I watched a little tutorial. This is just printer paper. And trying to get the base idea of an envelope. Because my cards end up being multiple different shapes or sizes. And so I wanted to be able to learn how to make an envelope with regardless of what size card I end up making. Because I'll take my 8.5 by 11 and I'll cut it in half to 4 1/4 and then fold that in half. And that ends up being the size of my base card. And then I try to cut my toppers in fours of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And so sometimes I cut them down, and the envelopes that come with cards are extra large for the cards. Like, there's a whole lot of room in them. And so I wanted to be able to not have to purchase 50 different colored cards just to coordinate with what cards I make. And it'll work for thinner paper. So I use copier paper to get the base idea. And pretty much what I'm getting from how to make a card is it doesn't matter what size your paper is, as long as it's equal on all four sides. So I forget what size this one is. But basically, if you want to make a certain size envelope, I'm certainly not explaining this. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. It's like 20 degrees outside. I made envelopes for cards that I made, a set that I made, and I cut the paper 8 by 8. And you can pull up in YouTube and it'll give you the tutorial on how to make a card. It's super simple. You're making sure that your two folds go to the center. Hold on, let me do it real quick. Let me pause for a second. Okay. So basically, what I watched in the video is you're trying to find the center point of your paper. And then you're going to fold the one end, and then you're going to fold it and meet the point. Excuse me. And then you're going to fold up. And this is not even going to be straight because really not doing a good job. You're going to do a design, a corner punch on this, unless you want it pointy. But what you end up doing is you cut these out, these corners. And then when you assemble it, these pieces will be gone. You fold it, you glue the edge so that this sticks. And then you have your fold. And you can put a little piece of double-sided tape without taking off one side, so that when the person goes to use it, all they have to do is peel that little piece of paper off and they've got their envelope. And that's what I did here. Did I glue it? I can't even remember. But you're basically just attaching the two spots here. And see, this doesn't have those corners now because I've cut them out. It's super easy, so all you gotta do is punch up envelope. And so I tried it. I didn't clean up the spot really good, but this is a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock that you can make really large ones. I thought this would work with one of the cards that I made, but it didn't. There's also a ton of videos on how to make them, but it's just attached two sides here, did the exact same thing, found the center of the paper, did the two folds, did the fold up. Oh, and when you do it, you need to cut this point also. Or you can cut it, you can round it if you'd like. Depends on how you want your envelope to look. So I played with some envelopes this week. And I'll show you some more in a bit. And then I watched Miriam Emberson play with alcohol inks. I don't have alcohol inks, but I do have acrylic inks. So I had a little conversation with her about, I wonder if the acrylic ink would work the same way as the alcohol inks. And she didn't have any. She had a dye ink, and she had the alcohol ink. So we weren't sure if the dye ink and the acrylic ink are the same. And I couldn't really get a whole lot of information off the package, which drove me nuts. So I basically did the same technique as she did. Is she took a container, put water in it, put drops of her alcohol ink, and then dipped her card in it, and she tried it with watercolor paper, photo paper, vellum, and acetate. I didn't try it with all of them. I just did your basic cardstock, and I tried it with vellum. Mine reacted a little different than hers, which in some ways it acted the same, which I thought was super interesting. So these four are with basic cardstock. I have your basic colors, the red, blue, green, yellow, black, and white. I didn't use the black. This was full drops in the water and dipped. And so wasn't this one, so that's one reason why the colors are so vibrant. And then I think, was it this one? I think this was the leftover of this. And then this one was the leftover, what was in the water is this one. So I thought it gave some interesting marbleized look. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So that also adds a background paper for any occasions. If I don't have paper that works for me, I can make my own. And then this was vellum. And it reacted. It didn't look like it, but it reacted. I thought it just stained it completely. But this one has some something similar to this, but not as pronounced. So it's a softer tone, and this was, I believe, just red. I can't remember if I put green. Looks like there's a little bit of yellow in there. And I believe this was just yellow and whatever was left in the pan. And the really cool part with the acrylic ink was that when she did it with her alcohol inks, when her water got muddy of the combination of the colors and it looked like mud, her paper turned mud. But acrylic inks didn't. My paper or my water was mud. And anytime I added a new drop to that muddy water, the drops is what I got. Because I even played with it here. Whereas I dipped it, and I was doing the same thing that she was doing, was double dipping. Is I dipped it into this far, and then I was like, ooh, it does work. Because I think this was the very first one I tried. And once the paper gets wet, it will not accept the dye in a dipping fashion, but straight on directly it did. So I had dropped drops on top while the paper was in the water. And the same thing. This was the water was like a brownish green. It was gross looking. But I dropped yellow in, dropped the vellum in, and it didn't get that muddy color. And the same thing with this one. I didn't change my water out after it turned muddy. And I just dropped them in. So I think I like acrylic inks a little better because hers definitely turned muddy on her. And then she had to dump it and start over. So that was my little adventure. And then I was playing with an embossing folder with the shiny red paper, and I could see that it cracked. So it did more than just emboss, it kind of cut it. And I didn't use any shims. So then this one worked better, except I put the paper in backwards. So I don't remember what the difference was when I ran it through. I might have ran this through twice, and that's why it cracked. Because this one didn't crack, but I put it in backwards. And then I tried to cut it, and I kept cutting it crooked for some reason. I don't know what happened, but it can be used on this side also. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I could add some. I could do a blending brush. I could just touch the tips, touch the embossed part. So I haven't decided, but it's still crooked. And I think I loaded it crooked. So this might be just a test piece. And then I tried a couple of other embossing folders, and I planned on doing something to these, but I wasn't quite sure. I think I want to try, since this is snowflakes, and there's some birds up there, I think I want to try some embossing powder. I have white, and I have a dark blue, so which is why I mounted it on dark blue paper. Not quite sure how it's going to turn out, but there'll be some more playing. And here was the other tree, which was flowers with dots. So I'm not quite sure how I want to decorate this yet. But it was just to kind of got the wheels turning and I had to stop. And then I played with this, which was the dye. I used my blending brush and it looked horrible. So then I tried to cut it out and I forgot what happened over here. I think I made a complete mess. I don't remember what happened with this one, but it didn't come out the way I had hoped. But I was playing. And then I played with an embossing folder a few times, trying to see if what technique would work to make it look nice. And I think this was the blending brush that I rubbed across it. And these, I think these are Distress Oxide. And I forget what I did here. But doing a little test to see what my embossing folder would look like using inks. Have not perfected that in any means. I was playing. So then I actually made some stuff. So that same die that turned into a test gone wrong, I just did a basic cut and I ran ribbon in it. And then I didn't like the color of the ribbon because it was more teal than it was green. And didn't realize how teal the ribbon was until I put that on. And then it really clashed. So I took one of my markers from that big set I got from Temu and I just touched the ribbon to make it more green. And then I took that same marker and added it to the green on there because the green was lighter. And just made a simple Christmas card. And then I had some ribbon from last year that I got off the clearance rack. And it was the little Christmas lights. And I wanted to do something with it, but I couldn't think of anything except for this. So this is as far as I got with this ribbon. And then, oh, excuse me. And then I just cut it out with the shiny, but then it was like too contrasting. So then I threw a third red in there. Like some, like it was Distress Oxide. So it's 3 shades. I don't really care for this card very much, but I was playing. And then I found some napkins that I had purchased last year. And so I did the Mod Podge technique of letting the Mod Podge dry and then ironing it on. I absolutely love this napkin, and I think I burnt it a little bit. Because guess who forgot to take off the back layer of the napkin? So I kept trying to press it and press it, and I kept getting this bubble. Kept pressing and pressing and heating it, and but it had some shading to it. So whatever. And then I had found these napkins, which they're pretty much the same flowers. It was just different design. This one has the teal background with the polka dots, and this was just a plain white. And so I made a couple of cards of those napkins. And then the other thing I was playing with is making card boxes. I'd watched Gina K in one of her videos, and one of the things that she did was make a set of cards and did a gift box to give it as a gift. And so she had a PDF of one size, and then I was like, well, I'm curious. I forgot what size this was. I can't even remember if this was the size that she made, but I made a box. And then I made another box. And then I was like, I want one that's bigger. That's 5x7 for those larger cards because this is not 5x7, it's smaller. I don't know if this is the 4x6. I can't remember. Just under 4.5. Almost 6. Well, basically. So this one that I did make, that I cannot even tell you what where the lines are on my scoreboard, because my scoreboard's kind of wacky. Spend the extra and buy a scoreboard from Spellbinders, Hobby Lobby, Michaels, one of those places, because the one from Temu, the size does not match the lines, and I couldn't figure out why my cards were a little on the weird side as far as sizing, because I would put in the exact same spot, but then I'd accidentally score in a different spot, and then they would be off. Yeah, because the scoreboard's screwed up on that side. So don't buy yours from Temu. So, but I have, after, I didn't want to glue it yet because I need it as a template. But you're basically got a larger box. And then you got the flap. So of course it's going to give me a hard time because it's not glued. And I think my measurements are a little off on this one. Is it this one that I got? It's one of these. I think. Yeah, I played. I was like, forget the scoreboard. I'm just gonna do this by hand. I think this one's messed up too. I think it's off a little bit, but I wanted to make one with one 12 by 12 piece of paper. So I made a few of them, and this one ended up being the most not messed. Oh, so sorry about that noise. Not messed up, but I made a gift box with cards, and what I did was I had taken a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and I stamped, which I seen one lady do, is she stamped down the middle and she stamped across, and she basically did a wide enough in the center and across so that it would end up on 4 card top. So that's what I tried. So I made an extra one for, I think this is how Gina K did it, because she had an example on it. And I forget what she did with the other side. I think she just did a basic um, hard topper with a stamp design on it. But when you open it up, it has a set of 4 cards. Yep. And so I have a thinking of you, I have a happy birthday, a thank you, and sorry for your loss. Let's get it all in frame. So I coordinated with the inks that I chose. These were Distress Oxides that I used. Put a little bit of bling. I put some water drops on the sorry for your loss. And then I put some bling on the thinking of you, the thank you, and the happy birthday. So here is what I did. Oh, this one ended up crooked somehow. That's a bad example. I'm going to have to fix that one. But I basically took, oh my goodness, that one's crooked too. Jeez. Don't do this when you're tired. So in essence, this is copy paper. And so I did that same thing that I showed you in the beginning. is you insert your card. You've got the little tape there, and then there's your card. So apparently I folded them crooked. So I'm going to have to fix these. And then I just rounded the corner, cut that across. It's not perfectly aligned. It looks homemade. I'm going to really have to fix those because I hope all of them are not messed up. Even this one looks crooked. Goodness. Is this one even fit in here? They fit in there? Oh, yep, I'm a little crooked. I'll have to make some adjustments. It's definitely crooked. So, this one looks a little wonky too. Not as bad as the other two. But, not a pro in any means. I'm new at this. So, I am not perfect at this at all, as you can see. But the base idea is there. And so, I put them. Each card has a little bit different in measurements because obviously I can't measure a thing. I can't do anything straight. And so they slide right in. That's 4 cards, 4 envelopes. And that's a cute little gift. If I can get the top on. Goodness, why can't I get it in there now? And then I did a for you. And then I just tied a ribbon and put a little charm on it. So this was my thought with the sets that I have, that I could actually give them as sets to the nursing home. So I thought, proud of it, but it's definitely got its flaws. I've never tried something like this, so I thought it'd be fun. My brain was on overdrive for these boxes. But I also looked at Sam Calcott, I think her name is. She has a tutorial specifically for these boxes, this style box, and then the style where the top comes off. So she gives you both options. She gives you in 6x6 and 5x7 in both styles. So I saved that video because I'm going to definitely practice. I think I like hers a little bit better than Gina K's style. It's they're very similar, except she uses 2 pages each, where I was trying to conserve and use one. But it is what it is. Preference, there's where it lies. And then the last thing that I did was I am still waiting. It's sitting in my cart. I haven't ordered it yet. But I'm going to, I think, purchase some leather, self-adhesive leather, and do my cover with that. And then I want to take a piece for the center, and I'm hoping that it's possible, is run it through my machine using an embossing folder. I don't know if it's going to work, but that's where my head lies. Because they have one that's already embossed, and I absolutely love it, but the sheets are small. And because I got this book this size, it will not, one sheet won't cover the whole thing. If you have a smaller one, then it's absolutely gorgeous. It's multi-toned, it's embossed, it's actually quite beautiful. But I got a plain one, and then I got some leather string sitting in my cart because I want to, if I can get that piece embossed with an embossing folder, then I can trim it with that leather string. And that's the start of my decorating. I will have to trim it out and cut around here. That's going to be interesting, me trying to cut something straight or curved, and we're hoping it works. We're hoping that I can figure out how to cut around that edge. I kind of have an idea, but I think I need to do a template first. And then cut the leather. But it's imitation leather, it's not real leather. Um, that's my plans. It's still sitting in my cart. I have not hit the submit button yet, but I do have an order coming, which they decided to split in half so that I would get it in a decent amount of time. Seriously. Taking forever as it is. Finally in the States. And they're going to push it to the last day. But this is my first page out of my large book that I did. I tried to do it pleasing to my eye. May not be pleasing to your eye, but in the end, I do like it. I put a little butterfly charm in it because butterflies seem to be where my head went on this page. Butterfly here, there's a little dragonfly peeking. But butterfly here, here, here. This little doohickey, and that's a little butterfly there. And it's got flowers. And I glued this down. This unravels as soon as you release or cut it. This stuff unravels. So it's already adding some interest, so hopefully it doesn't go beyond here. I might have to stick some glue right there to keep it from keep going. But I thought that that was fun to add some that interest dimension. And then I punched a hole in it and put one of those, um, I forget what they're called, but there's paper, one kind of paper here, some here, some here. This is that vellum that has the vellum sticker with it. This was from another pack, this combination. This came from something else. This came from a little box set. This came from another set. I took a piece of vellum and cut one edge of it to add some interest to it. This paper came from a whole nother spot. This was a scrap piece. This was a little card from another thing. This came from 3-row stickers. I kept it on the paper. And this was a envelope that I made just like these. I just did this one well out of paper that I have in my stash. Put a few things in here for like a cardstock tag. I got a sticker in here or another card. There's some dictionary things in here, a couple of little cards, little things for me to look back down the line, and then hung a little charm off it, and then took a sticker out of a large sticker book that I have. I just fussy cut around. Took a little piece of cardstock so that I could separate because I didn't want to fight because they're all the same length pages. So I just stuck this under there for a little tab for when I turn the page. And actually, in the end, I like this page now. It took some time for me to like it. Adding a little, like, the little butterfly, the little grommet thing here, that butterfly, the little piece of vellum. Those were the final touches that I now like this page. And then I started playing a little bit. And so I still had some paper out, and I was like, let me throw a pocket together. So I took this double-sided paper, which, because I like it because it has another side to it, and attached it to this paper, which was extra long, and I just folded it up, glued these edges, and I ended up with a pocket. And I just threw some tags that I had made with the tag punch, and I attached it with washi tape. And then I had taken that same washi tape and ran it along here. I had also put, I think I sandwiched, if I remember correctly, I think I put 2 pages together. Yeah, I glued 2 pages together because it was too thin for me. It needed to be able to hold. I didn't glue all of them. So it's quite thin. And I thought that it being too thin, because you get 80 sheets in this pack, so not a big deal. But it's basically craft paper, and you can literally see through it. So I ended up taking 2, gluing them, putting glue in here, and then taking washi tape and sandwiching it with the washi tape, and then punch the holes in it to put it back in the book. So I did it to a few of them. I think I did it to like 5 of them. And I'm going to have to do it to more because I don't like how thin this paper is. Where there's 2 of them together, there's a little bit more substance to it. It doesn't bend as easy. So that's how I'm going to deal with it. Plus reinforcing it so that when I flip through the pages, I don't rip. Because it's got a good hold. So, I mean, over time, it'll probably wear the holes out, which happens with when you have something like this. When you're not stitching it and that kind of thing, then the holes do get worn. But there's some substance to it with it as it is this way. And so I thought it would be interesting to add something to the edges. So I might do that on every page. I don't know. But so far, that's where I'm headed. So I hope you enjoyed the fun that I had this week, and I hope that you had some fun and did some testing and enjoying your craft stash and getting ready for Christmas, maybe. Still working on fall stuff. I haven't purchased a single Christmas gift yet. So, and I have a little bit of free time now, which hopefully doesn't last very long because my Temu hauls are coming to a screeching halt until I can get a job again. Is that I'm basically a PRN. They call me when they need me. There's a whole messy, sad, depressing story behind that. But I am not going to talk about it on here because this is not a messy, sad page. It might be messy channel, but it's not going to be a sad channel. So I'm not going to bring my personal drama into it. I want to bring fun. And so the only part that makes it not fun is that I need to get another job so we can keep the pattern of the fun. So if you liked what you've seen, you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer and hit the buttons, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks. Bye.